Hey everybody, good morning again, and welcome to Northern Illinois. And I'm Rita Hickman, shiatsu massage therapist and body-mind expert. And here today is one of my favorite topics. We're going to be talking about brainwave patterns and how they totally screw up all of your relationships. So, what are brainwave patterns? Brainwave patterns are patterns of thought that, for whatever reason, hey Sue, patterns of thought that for whatever reason have kind of become semi-hardwired into our brain and into our body. See, the different thoughts, hey Carol, the different thoughts and sensations and feelings and, things we smell, things that we touch, things in the distance, when they happen around something, which happens a lot, let's say over the course of a decade, or a couple decades, like when we're in when we're a kid, or when we're in a relationship that we can't get out of, or a situation we can't get out of, we end up in these brainwave patterns. And these brainwave patterns are just these neural connections connected to your nervous system and connected to your brain, which all fire at the same time. So the rule of thumb is what fires together, wires together. So when you have an experience, especially an experience that lasts over a good amount of time, we develop a certain way of thinking and responding to it. Hey, Helen, good to see you. And even when decades later happen, when we're an adult, when, now we're in our 50s or 60s, and this is something that happened in our 20s or whatever, we still go back to those brainwave patterns. The problem is that the people in our lives, or us, if, we're in a relationship with somebody else, we don't know the past history, all of the past history. We really don't understand necessarily what it was like to be in that situation. One of my favorite things to do is hang out with cousins of mine, because when I hang out with cousins of mine, I feel very validated sometimes for the way that I respond, hey Deb, and the way that I react to different situations and different relationships. Because I talk to my cousins and they say, oh yeah, I do the exact same thing because this is the only way we could respond. The problem is when time goes by, let's say you're in a bad period in your life or in a bad marriage, first marriage or something like that, and we got into a pattern of responding. And we were able to get out of that bad situation into a place that was healthier and with someone who was more mature or better able to look at the world. The problem is, though, that when something reminds us of that brainwave pattern, I like to call it falling off your cliff. You go right back into that pattern of thinking and you get lost in it. And so the other person, whether it's you falling off your cliff or someone falling off their cliff with you, they fall right back into that brainwave pattern. And everything is just as if it were when they used to live that reality. So I've got a close friend, and my close friend has had a lot of good experiences, a lot of really rich, difficult experiences in their lives. They've had a failed marriage that had a lot of arguing and emotional tension. They've had run-ins with people, their childhood. They've had grief and death and all sorts of things happen to them. And so it's very easy for them to get triggered by me. Have you ever been in your office and you're just sitting there and someone comes in and they just blow up? And you're like, why did this just happen? What did I do? If you're a normal, nice human being, you sit there trying to figure out what you did wrong, how you can change the situation, how you can fix it. You're thinking about the immediate moment, or you're getting angry because this other person is taking out their baggage on you and you've done nothing to deserve it. This is how good relationships can spiral down really fast, because we forget when someone's yelling at us that they're not really yelling at us. They're going back to a time in their life when they were scared or insecure or helpless or just a pattern of being, let's say fighting with someone. They don't even see it because to them, you are that person. You are doing the thing to them that they need to respond in this way. They don't see you. They don't see you. They have forgotten who you are. So when that happens, which is a normal mental thing that we all go through, but when that happens, we're in the moment wondering, how did this happen to me? And they're actually 10, 20, 30 years in the past. You know, especially as we get older, our brains start to break down a little bit. Hey, Barbara. And what happens is things which were well compartmentalized now spill out into everything else. So many Vietnam vets don't start having real problems with their issues, you know, unless they dealt with it at the beginning when they came back and had severe PTSD. Many times they don't remember things or re-experience this or have their PTSD until they're in their 50s or 60s. And so we're wandering around wondering why they're behaving in such an irrational, crazy, immature sort of way. Hey, Geneva, it's not because of you. And it's not because they're bad people. And it's not because they're narcissistic jerks who just enjoy fighting with everybody and they're using everybody around them. That's not it either. It's that they fell back into their pattern and they don't even see it. So what do if someone you love, an important relationship, your boss or coworker, spouse or kid or, you know, parent, what do you do when you are feeling unjustifiably attacked or you don't know why someone is responding in such a victimized way or a childish way? So when I got my massage therapy license, I went to this fabulous school, and the school also worked with sex abuse survivors. And what they would do is they would physically recreate, you know, as much as is reasonable, the trauma that this person had and give it a different outcome. Like, let's say this time they fought back, or this time, you know, they ran away. They did something different, because that's the beautiful thing about the mind. It actually has what's called neuroplasticity, which is the ability to shift and change. And even into our 80s, they've been showing we create new neurons in our brain. Our brain keeps creating new cells. It doesn't stop. We aren't trapped. And so when someone goes back into their pattern and you say, wow, this is really weird, control your reaction. And if you can stay present to them, give them a different outcome. Maybe hold up a mirror for them. So one of the things that I do is, instead of assuming that this person is out to get me and trying to ruin my life and unjustifiably attacking me out of nowhere for some small slight that I do, instead I say to myself, wow, hey, Kara. No, I don't say, hey, Kara. I say, wow, they've fallen back into this brainwave pattern of the past. I know that's not me. And they don't realize how they're coming across. They don't realize they're being a bully, or they realize, but they don't realize the impact or the effect. So instead of playing the victim or fighting back or being aggressive or hiding, which are all coping skills from my past, you know, which I have the tendency to do, which just makes things worse, many times I'll address it and I'll say, do you realize when you say this, this is how it affects me? And they may still come back because they're still in that brainwave pattern. They may still come back with that fighting and that anger and that aggravation and be like, well, I don't care. You deserve it. This is the way it's going to be. But the thing is when their hormones dial down, when their cortisol goes down and their limbic system goes back offline, isn't the one in charge, and their rational mind comes back online, they're able to integrate this new information. So instead of helping them recreate the pattern of their past, which just reinforces that neural connection, you need to break it. And you break it by behaving differently than you might normally want to behave as a human being, you know? Because when I was getting my licensing, I had someone working on me who made me feel very uncomfortable. Their touch was very, it made me feel violated. And so instead of continuing with the massage, I stopped it and I said, well, you know, this is what I'm feeling. Not you, it's my past coming up and I need to end this. So then I went to someone I really respected, the owner of the school, and she was a great mentor into all of these fabulous, crazy, mystical healing things. And she said to me, she said, if you don't tell somebody how you feel, you turn them into a bully. And nobody really wants to be a bully. So if you want to have some faith in the people that matter the most to you, one, have some trust in your own judgment. You chose somebody who isn't a complete narcissistic jerk who's out to get you and trying to ruin your life. Trust that you have good judgment and that this is a situation that you're going through. And then say something that's different. Respond differently than somebody might have ever responded, or maybe that you've ever responded before. A lot of times, people like to have the highest vision of themselves, and so they ignore and they blow off the parts of themselves that they don't like. They pretend it's not happening or that it's justified. When you can say to them in a way that isn't, punching them in the face and insulting them or hiding and being a victim, when you say, right now you're being a bully, they'll still continue to be a bully in that moment. In all the books they say, oh no, I can't believe I was doing this and it was terrible. And, that's not reality. Reality is they stay angry, but now you've introduced a new idea. You've infected in a positive way their brain waves, and you've changed them. Now the next time they're going to do it too. They're going to come up to you and they're going to be like, and you did this and I can't believe you did that. And you're going to want to react. But instead, trust your judgment, see that they're in a brainwave pattern, and introduce something new. Would you like some chocolate? You seem to be in a bad mood, or you're behaving. He's going to go away. Oh, here we go. Everybody's back. Cool. I froze up for a moment. Sorry. So do something differently than you've done before. Maybe offer them chocolate. Maybe say you're being a bully. Maybe say, when you say this or do these things, this is how it affects me. This is how it affects the people around you. This is what a healthy, mature, good person does. They see somebody past their behavior to the person that they really are. And I believe a lot of people want to be good people. They don't know how, and they don't see that they're being jerks. They feel it's justified. They feel they have to protect themselves, that it's mere nothing. Consider it just a pattern of thought. And they have other patterns of thoughts. They have other ways of being. And if you want to look out for your most important relationships, you will help them redirect or change channels from the pattern of thought that they're in. You'll help distract them. You'll help them see what's going on, give them new information, and then they can evolve as a person. Now, as I said, this isn't instantaneous like a sitcom, and after 30 minutes, everybody loves each other. What happens is you decide this is how you're going to interact with them from now on, seeing them through a compassionate eye, and then deciding how you're going to respond. Now, we all do struggle with our own thought patterns, absolutely. And we don't catch ourselves. We think it's justified. We get angry. We hide. We run away because we're projecting onto the situation what's going on. So this is how I handled it. How I handled it is I gave myself a compassionate space where I realized this is what's happening. I shored myself up so that I wasn't stressed out, because that will help me keep from going into that brainwave pattern. And then when I felt good and safe and like I had good tools that could pull me out, and I got comfortable with learning how to pull myself out of a brainwave pattern, let's say with music or essential oils or a walk or eating something or drinking a glass of water or breathing or taking a nap. When I know I've got the ability to change my own brainwave patterns, with my senses and with, changing my situation, my external environment. When I know I can do that, now it's time to go on adventures. And it's time to start pushing outside of your boundaries a little bit and experimenting and seeing if what you thought might be true, let's say that men are bullies who are out to get me and I can't trust them. What you do is you start saying, I don't want to believe this anymore. I want to believe that that these people who are important to me are not bullies. And so I'm going to try to have experiences with them which are positive. And then you get to the point when you get enough positive experiences, you're able to say, sometimes they're a bully and this is how I'm going to handle it. And sometimes they're not and this is how I'm going to handle it. Yes, we need to work on monitoring our own brainwave patterns. Yeah, it does get trickier with OCD. OCD many times is the side effect. So start with the stress management. Start with getting as many things in your life and having as much compassion for yourself so you're coming from a good foundation. If you try to change your reactions to things while you're still in a really stressed out place, you're going to fail. You're going to feel like a complete loser that screwed everything up, and you're going to continue on that path. Trying to make a change when you're in a depleted place is nearly impossible, because you can't change how you feel with your thoughts alone. You need to change how you feel by your environment, by your choices, things like that. And we are going to fail over and over and over. So what do you do when you fail? You recognize on the other side that you failed, and then you go to the situation or the person and say, you know what? This is not who I want to be. This is not the choices that I want to make. This is what happened. And if there's somebody that you really care about that is on your side, you can tell them, when this happens to me, I am not in my right mind, literally. I'm falling back into this brain pattern. It would be really helpful for me and for you if you could do X, Y, Z when I'm doing this. When I would get really super stressed out, I would need my husband to sit next to me and put my hand on the middle of my back to help me calm down. Now, at the time, he couldn't handle that because he had all of his own issues coming up. But as time has gone by and he's gotten to know me better, now we've been together 25 years, as he's gotten to know me better and we've gone through these things, he realizes that when I'm behaving a certain way, it's because I may have fallen back into a pattern. And if he sits next to me and touches me in some way, it will help me stay level and keep me from becoming a lunatic, or acting out in a survival sort of mechanism. You can enlist the help of the people that you care about. Let's take the judgmentalism away from how we react to things and instead recognize it's a mental health issue, and we all have them. We all have these mental health issues. So what you're going through is a mental health issue. It's not personal. You don't even see it. You have no idea. And how can I help you? If you change that paradigm shift, or say, how can I help myself because I fall off my cliff into these situations, it means that now you can problem solve it and you can be proactive and you can course correct quickly. If you've got all these judgments around it, then you're going to pretend it's not happening, you're going to justify why you're doing it, and you're going to continue to make your relationships and your situations worse because you're not behaving as the mature adult that you really are. And you're not helping the people that you love behave in the loving, kind way that they want to be. They don't want to be jerks. They don't want to be bullies. They don't want to be insensitive, thoughtless, narcissistic, difficulties in anybody's life. They want to see themselves as good people. And so you are doing them a favor when you let them know in a kind, loving way, this is the effect this has on me. This is just the way that it is. And when they throw stuff back at you, you can say, I get it, but you stay grounded and rational. Now, if it's you who's being irrational, catch yourself and course correct. Go for the walk, drink the water, drink the tea, have a snack, take a nap. Catch yourself fast and course correct, okay? Look for the signs and symptoms that your mood is going to the left. Hey, Cassandra. Okay, so that's it for today. I would love it if you would comment on other people's comments in a loving, kind way, and be part of this great tribe. If you share it, if you like it, if you love it, it means that I feel validated and motivated to keep being this anchor this anchor for all of this really amazing, beautiful women. So wherever you see this, please comment, please share. That helps quite a bit, because the more of us who are entrained together and on this path supporting each other, the more we actually get our needs met and we can be the person we want to be. Okay, so have a great day. I will see you tomorrow, and I'm off to my very busy appointments. You bet, Geneva. I'll talk to you later, guys. Bye.